It's really so good to have you join us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Paul, here from Lifeconnect Church. And at this church, we believe that life is better connected. So thank you for connecting with us and hopefully improving your life, but definitely improving ours because of your online presence. Now, you have tuned in for part 4 of a 5-part series we're calling Future You. And I was watching a teaching by Pastor Levi Lusko from Fresh Life Church. And he did a series called You in 5 Years. I thought, wow, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic because, we got to be working towards something in the future. And if we can be working towards a better version of who we are, then man, I'm in for that. I'm really in for that because I've always said that everybody is far more than what they have become. So in week 1, we looked at, if you are, who are you going to be in 5 years' time? Are you going to be just the way you are now? Are you going to be a worse version of yourself? Or are you going to be a better version of yourself and hopefully a more God-inspired, God-derived version of yourself? Week 2, we looked at why is it so difficult for you and I to change? And then last week, we looked at through a series of consistent small steps over a period of time, great things can happen and great change can occur. And today I want to talk to you about time, because we think, I don't have the time for all of this. I don't have the time for these goals and these plans. Have you seen my schedule? Have you seen my life? Have you seen my family? I don't have the time. And I want to tell you today, time is not your enemy. It is the mismanagement of time that is catching you out and tripping you up. If we could help you to manage your time better and show you that you can actually carve out time, you will be able to achieve any goal, any plan, and you'll be able to have a less stressful life and probably a more blessed life because of that. So I want you to stick with me as we explore this concept of time and the availability of time. So I'm going to go to the Bible, because believe it or not, the Bible talks into this, and it starts off in Genesis chapter 1, and we can't go much further back than that. And we're going to go look at the creation, okay? Right at the beginning, chapter 1 of the first book of the Bible, Genesis 1 verse 3 to 5. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. So in Genesis, God sets up the concept of time by defining what a day is. God created light, and on that day there was light. God called it day, and there was dark, and God called it night. But then it says, and there was an evening, and there was a morning, that first day. Okay. 40 times in the Bible, at least 40 times in the Bible, we see these two words, evening and morning, being used in conjunction with each other, denoting a time period, denoting, if we read it, as a whole day. Okay? So, God springs this on us right from the start. And somewhere over the years since creation, the concept of what a day constitutes has changed. In the Bible, it was defined as an evening, and the evening is followed by the morning, a day, until the next evening. That is what a day constitutes. We got it confused. Now look at this graph that's going to pop up on your screen. We generally think a day starts at 12 a.m., okay, and ends at 12 p.m. Somehow that doesn't align with the Bible. We think our day actually starts not at 12 o'clock at the night before, but when we get up in the morning, that's the beginning of a day. So we get out of bed, coffee, and we think I've got a whole day ahead of myself. Actually, according to the way we measure time now, our day started 6 hours ago when we were sleeping. But now, from the beginning, the time was measured different. The time was measured from evening, sunset to sunset. Not from 12 o'clock at night till 12 o'clock midday, but from sunset, let's say the sun sets at 6 p.m., from 6 p.m. to the following day, 6 p.m. That constituted a day. And to this day, the Jews believe in that framework of time. That time starts when the sun goes down and the day ends when the sun goes down after a period of 24 hours. Okay, so God set it out that we have got a day different to what we perceive. I'm in George, okay, and we getting into winter. So roughly we see the sun setting about 17:30, that's 5:30 in the afternoon or early evening, and the sun rising about 7:30 the following morning. So that's 14 hours, give or take. And if I go back to what Genesis says, then those 14 hours for where I'm at now in my time zone and being in the southern hemisphere, my day actually starts, now look how it's depicted in red, from then, from 17:30 the evening until 7:30 the next morning. That is my productive time, that is my daytime, that is where things are supposed to happen, and if I could make them happen in that time, I'll be better off in the day that is ahead, the 7:30 the morning up until 5:30 that evening, because it's in that time, in those 10 hours, or it's actually only 8 productive hours because you've got lunchtime and you've got dropping kids off and so on. But it's in that time, okay, in between the red time on the diagram, that is where life gets a bit chaotic. That is where all the mess is. That's where the meetings are and the deadlines are and the traffic jams are. That is where the schedules are. Basically, earning a living happens from about 7:30 in the morning until about 17:30 in the evening. Now, if we could set ourselves up to be better off in that time, if we realized I have from sunset until sunrise to prepare myself for the day, that time where there's consistent light until the evening, if I can use the time before that, in other words, the evening and the early morning wisely, I could set myself up to succeed. We have got the ability to today take a decision to utilize our time from 17:30 the evening until the morning when we wake up better, and to set us up for greater success so we can choose our goals. Because in the 10 hours that constitutes daytime, which I've already said is actually only about 8 productive hours, that is chaotic, that's crazy, that's busyness, that is like, it just overwhelms you. It's full of unpredictability, and you've got really little control over what happens in that time. But you do have control what happens in the time from when you get home until you leave your home the next day. And I do realize we got some people that are retired, on pension. You just got a day filled with different things, and you can still set yourself up to enjoy the daylight hours a whole lot better. Now, for far too long, we've let the daylight hours control our lives, okay? And if we can't fit anything into that time, well, then it doesn't get done. And I'm saying that's wrong. I'm saying if you could learn to anchor your evening, okay, to take control of your evening and your early morning and do that well, you can have a far better day. You can have this like a killer evening and a killer morning, which will help you into the day. And no matter what that day throws at you, you're better mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared to handle the events of that day. You can come home from the 8 hectic hours still full of joy, still with a smile on your face, and you can enter into a period of the next 14 hours where you've set yourself up for the coming day. Now, in order to do that, in order to optimize our evenings and our early mornings, I've got 3 points I want to share with you. I want to impart to you. And I really hope you get this. Now, it's not going to be really deep, but it is going to be really practical. Okay, so point number 1. Are you ready out there? Okay, listen to this. Make a note. Write this in capital letters and stick it on your fridge. Point number 1. Get sleep. Serious, Paul? Yes, I am dead serious. Your job, your number 1 job, is to get sufficient sleep. Now, I know some of you are like, yeah, he's talking my language, but we'll get to you people who want to sleep too much just now. Why in modern times is it so hard for you and I to get optimal sleep? Can I tell you why? Because of Thomas Edison. Because of this little invention which is in my pocket. An incandescent light bulb. In 1879, Thomas Edison flicked the switch and changed our sleep patterns and our concept of what constitutes good time forever. I don't think he knew what he was going to do, how he would change the world, but he has. And since we've had this, how do I call this? Non-natural light. Things have been turned upside down. You know, before he flicked that switch, your great-great-grandparents, I would assume it would be your maybe great-great-great-grandparents, were getting on average 10 hours of sleep per night. Okay? Do you know what the average is now? Now, it was 10 hours on average per night, except if you were a teenager because you were up to other stuff, but generally 10 hours. Go. Do you know what the average is right now? And listen to the words, the average right now is 6 hours and 51 minutes. That's the average. So that takes into account those lazy bones who are heading for 12 hours sleep, and you know, those people who get 10 hours sleep and those who really get 8 hours sleep. It takes into account those of you who are only getting 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep. The average is 6 hours 51. You see, the intention was that we would have about 8 hours sleep. That doctor says the optimal amount of sleep. Back in the day, people were sitting around the fire. People were talking when the sun went down. People were they were comfortable. They weren't being driven. It was just a general time where it was more placated than what we experience. So they were set up for better things. They would go to bed and get 10 hours of sleep. Today, it's lights on, okay? And since we had lights, we had the evolution of power. So now we got TV, and we got YouTube, and we got Netflix, and we got this. The list goes on and on and on. So when we get home, it's like, okay, I'm going to make food quickly. I'm going to eat my food. We're going to clean up, and then we're going to get stuck in front of some screen. And it's affected your productivity. It's negatively influencing your family, and it is stealing your time. Yes, I can't begin to tell you how much these screens affect us, because it's like TV screens and tablet screens and computer screens, because some of us are even taking work home, and it is probably the worst of the lot. And in my other pocket, the worst of the lot is this: phone screens. Folks, these things are damaging us. They're affecting us on a level far beyond what you even comprehend, because it's causing you to not get enough sleep. And it's proved over and over, scientifically, medically, it's proved that not enough sleep leads to irritability and anger and depression and mental exhaustion, and all of these things negatively impact on your productivity. They make you less than pleasant to be around, and it actually affects your immune system. And you know what happens when you don't get enough sleep? You become a grumpy old goat. Okay? So some of you are wondering why you're grumpy. It's because you don't sleep enough. And I know you're going to tell me, but I don't need 8 hours of sleep. Well, then you're going against God, because God created you and God knew the amount of sleep that we needed. So He put it in there. You're taking God's creation, which is you, and you're just abusing it. And you're not giving yourself your best. You're not giving your family your best. You're not giving your world your best. Folks, this is important. It's like, I see this. It's cold outside. You're driving along with the heater on, but you've got all the windows open. Makes no sense. Well, trying to survive on 4 hours or 6 hours of sleep makes no sense. You were not designed that way. The heater in the car would only be effective if the windows were closed. So we need to start our day when the sun goes down. We need to do what needs to be done for sure. There's a bit of cooking, a bit of eating, these things that need to be done. But then it is unwinding. It is preparing yourself to sleep. So it is looking at what are the things that are affecting my sleep besides the screen time. It is maybe cutting out coffee, not snacking on chocolates, definitely not drinking an energy drink at night, watching horror movies or gory movies, or I can promise you metal music won't help you come down and relax. You need to find a routine that brings the busyness of your day down to a level where you can just experience a moment. You can experience some peace, and you can go to bed in that state of mind, because then you will wake up in a far better state. Now I know, like we said, some of you are these 12-hour sleepers. Get out of bed. What are you doing in there for 12 hours? You just like abusing your body on the other side. And it's making you inherently lazy, because people who sleep too much wake up what? Tired. Because your body's so conditioned, I need sleep, I need sleep. Your body only needs about 8 hours of sleep. You build a routine. You tell your body how this works. Those of you who only think I can get by on 6 hours of sleep because I've been doing it since I was 20. I don't care how long you've been doing it. Build a new routine that you get into the way God has designed you to be. You are not special that you need only 4 hours sleep. You're lying to yourself and depriving the world of a better version of you. Okay, so that was point number 1. Isn't this practical? Get sleep. Number 2, I want to ask you, how do you start your day? Okay, you see, after you sleep your 8 hours, do you fly out of bed, shout at the kids, grab coffee, or do you like battle to get up and hit that snooze button, and then you're late, so then you get out of bed and you shout at the kids? You don't have time to eat a breakfast. You drag your carcass out of bed, you get dressed, you forget to put on your underwear, you realize late in the day you got mismatched socks on, because by the time you get to sleep you're still to work, you're still busy yawning and stretching and convincing your bad knee to start working and making all your usual morning sounds. And we've all got our morning sounds, don't we? You know, if that is you on either side, there's a better way to do things. If you get into a routine and you decide, I'm going to start my day with Psalm 46 verse 10, which says, "Be still and know that I am God." If you spend your time with God before you go to bed, that's great. Really, I'm happy for you. You're going to sleep better, you're going to feel better. It says in Genesis as well that Adam walked in the garden with God in the evening, so that was his time. But generally, we tend to have adapted a morning sort of routine for spending our time with God. So we're setting our day up. We've had our 8 hours sleep, and now we've been in the presence of God, and then we go out into the world. If you've had a deep sleep, then you're better equipped to go deep with God. So I want to encourage you, if you want to set yourself up for a great day, spend time with God in the morning. Set your alarm. Go to bed at 10. Set your alarm for 6. Or go to bed at 9 and set your alarm for 5. Whatever works for you. I want to encourage you. Spend time with God. Okay. It is important, ladies and gentlemen. It is not only good for our relationship with God, but it's good for our relationship with everyone. It's good for our work. It's good for our productivity. It's good for our emotional state of being. And it's good for our spiritual depth that we are developing. It is good for the goals that you have set to become a better version of you. Okay, so number 1 was get sleep. Number 2, start your day off with Jesus. Okay, and a cup of coffee, of course. Point number 3. Now don't beat me up here, okay? Get some exercise. And while you're about it, eat better. Okay, now I'm preaching to myself here because I've got an unhealthy diet. I'm not into all these vegetables and things, and I know I need to be, but I eat meat, okay? And the meat producer, the cow, the sheep, has eaten all the vegetables and the good stuff, so I just get it from them. Second-hand vitamins. So I'm okay with that. Okay, but I want to talk to you about exercise. And I know I'm pushing the boundary a little bit. I'm taking a bit of a liberty here. But really, after 8 hours of glorious, rejuvenating sleep, time spent in the presence of God, why don't you just do a little exercise? Go for a short walk, okay? Brisk short walk. do some push-ups. And I know you go, I can't do push-ups. Start small. Start with one, and the next day you try two, whatever. Build up. Just find some sort of way of getting your body to exercise, which will help get your body in shape. But exercise has got far more benefits than just getting your body in shape. Exercise is actually like the Prozac, the Ritalin of the world. It helps your mood. It helps you focus, and your body needs a little exercise to release all the good things that have been stored up within it. When we exercise, all these things are being released, which set us up for a whole lot better day. Can you see? You get to choose what your day is, when it starts and when it ends. But you also get to choose what you can do with that day. And I want to tell you today, if you learn to manage your time like we've been speaking about, you can rejuvenate your life with Jesus and your life with others. Like I said at the beginning, this has been so simple and really practical. But I believe if you apply this to your life, then future you is a better version than present you. Come guys, girls, we can do this. We've got the time. We've got a God who created time, who is with us. I want to leave you with Ephesians 5 verse 15 to 16. It says then, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. This life is literally going to kill you, okay? But it's also going to spoil your day. It's going to spoil your time. It's going to mold you and shape you. But today, hopefully, you've realized you get to mold and shape yourself before the world can. You've realized that today, if I do things right, I can face the world. I can face what the world throws at me, because I'm doing it from a place of rest and from resting in His presence, and I've set my body up to deliver the best that day that I need for that day. You can change, you can be better, and the ball is in your court. May you be blessed. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate the time that you've given to us as Lifeconnect Church. Thank you for sowing into this precious ministry of ours, helping us to not only reach our local world, but to reach the whole world. Our account number for those of you who want to sow is for Absa Bank, 405 1911 270. Be blessed, okay, and get enough sleep. Start the day with Jesus and get some exercise. Love you.